TYT's very own Mayor Mondale Robinson being investigated by the SBI for racist leaflets being left around the city of Enfield, North Carolina, which of course he is the mayor of after he removed that Confederate monument. Now, TYT's Indisputable covered the initial incident of the removal of the monument last year. Here's a reminder.
Black mayor has been targeted, is now under criminal investigation because he decided to remove Confederate monuments that he had permission to remove. Let me go to the first video. Here it is.
Yo, it's time for this monument to come down. People voted. I tried with a hammer. That wasn't enough. So now here come the tractors. Drive it down. Yes, sirs. Yes, sirs. Yes, sirs. Death to the Confederacy around here. Push that little one over too, bro. All of it. Not in my town, not on my watch. Not in my town, not on my watch.
All right, and so for that act of leadership, Mayor Mondale was investigated. SBI originally investigated last year for the removal of those monuments, but that investigation was dropped and there were no charges. However, according to the mayor, SBI was at his mother's house to investigate him, a bombshell, which he says is in regards to those racist leaflets being left around town after the monument's removal last year. There's a reminder. The text of it, white people of Enfield, you have let an N tyrant stomp on your heritage. What will you do? Don't let them get away with anything. Signed, the loyal white knights. An entire black neighborhood's yards were littered with these filthy messages. Ziploc baggies with bird seed to weigh them down. So somebody spent a lot of time. It mattered to them. The message on the flyer was printed and claimed to be from the loyal white knights with a hotline phone number leading to a voicemail. According to research, the group is a chapter of the KKK headquartered in Pelham, North Carolina. Flyer also listed a website that did not exist when entered and had a podcast listing as well as 100% Americanism. Pray for white Americans. And a message for people to read: the US Supreme Court decision on Hague versus Committee for Industrial Organization in 1939. The details there from the Daily Herald. Now, these kinds of notes, of course, have been spreading all across North Carolina for the past few years, longer. Here's a headline from 2020. In North Carolina, notes tied to North Carolina KKK found in Williamsburg, James City, York counties. So you see it there. While law enforcement did look into the threatening letters, Public Information Officer Lieutenant Christopher Shane Gallant talked about charges related to the incident. He pointed to ethnic intimidation in North Carolina defined by GS 14-401.14. Here it is. However, the charge requires an assault or damage to property to have occurred. None of that has taken place today. Therefore, at this time, we have limited statutes that apply. Littering is one that comes to mind. Nonetheless, it is important that I stress we can only enforce laws based on their legal elements. Letter with graphic racist undertones is in fact protected under the First Amendment, as long as it does not imply an implicit threat of assault or damage to property. Again, that's the PIL, Daily Herald with the details. Mayor Robinson noted that the leaflets were not left in his yard. However, he got some different messages, multiple threatening emails and letters delivered to his home and office, okay? This email is in response to the video showing the destruction of a Confederate statue in the city you serve. Confederate states will never be erased from history, sir. Not in your lifetime or generations to come. The Confederate states are still active today with members who will stand for their heritage. You will be watched closely. Persons will address you while you are working, when you are in public, and during your everyday outings. We are one, we are many. Sincerely, the Invisible Empire. There's more, you see it there. You are a dumb POSN who should go to jail. Learn history. You're a disgrace to all veterans who fought in wars. These were real men. You are not. Expletive. Boy, they have a way with words. There's more still. Piece of that monument had a memorial for the fallen soldiers of foreign wars. Even if you don't like the Confederate memorial, it still had a tribute to our brave men and women who fought for our freedom in our past wars. You're worse than all of these woke young people that want to erase history. You wouldn't have freedom if it wasn't for those brave men and women. You're a piece of expletive and an embarrassment. You had a right, no right rather, to touch that statue. If it had been that criminal Floyd, you would have left it up. Blacks can never remove history no matter what you do. Blacks are inferior beings and really just plain stupid. Women have babies with no fathers around. Whites have to support them. They are all on welfare, can't speak English, can only play ball and rap. Should all go back to Africa and be the jungle bunnies your relatives were. Whites are superior to you. You will regret this action. You should have let the whites remove it. You cannot just destroy public property. Maybe you will get sued. But being black, you probably are broke. Signed, a white patriots. Now, if you call the white knights directly, here's their outgoing voicemail. Listen.
Greetings from the loyal white knights of the Ku Klux Klan. The dumbest of the month award goes to Mayor Mondale Robinson for calling on Governor Cooper to investigate white terror in Enfield, North Carolina. While the are running the crime rate sky high, shooting each other in gang violence, he wants to worry about Confederate monuments. If you're interested in joining the Klan, leave your name and number and we'll get back to you. Always remember, if it ain't white, it ain't right. White power.
Certainly not shy. Remember, none of this picked up, investigated by authority. Statutes don't apply, they said. Mayor Mondale apparently spent months calling for that investigation into this. It's called out the Secretary of Public Safety and the North Carolina Governor Roy Cooper for not doing anything. And shortly after Mondale called out these individuals, that's when the FBI decided to show up at his parents' house, saying they were there to investigate Mondale and his younger sister for the racist letters that were thrown in Enfield residents' yards. His sister told Indisputable Investigates this: I felt violated because I know that neither Mondale nor I did anything wrong. And they were trying to put the blame on us. I felt like yet again we were being let down by the people that are supposed to protect us. Can't believe instead of trying to find out who really did it, they would accuse the people that it happened to. It's disgusting and I felt violated. I don't think they're going to protect my brother. I know the threats come daily because I retrieved many from his mail. Wow. When the FBI agents came, I told the agent that I knew they were there because a week prior, my brother had discussed on national TV the neglect of the governor to do anything about the racist antics. I was so optimistic that I was overly eager to assist them. However, those hopes were soon shot down. Realization that nothing had changed or was going to change crushed me. I fear for my brother's life daily. This investigation is confirmation that those fears are valid. So the question, why are they doing this? I have some thoughts. Why investigate Mayor Mondale Robinson and his family for the racist leaflets? When they say they're gonna watch you every day, Mayor, in public, they'll address you. You will be watched at all times. That seems very threatening to me, but you take us through what this has been like.
Yeah, I mean, it's gaslighting and it's dangerous for so many reasons. And I'm not trying to make it out like I'm a martyr or I'm more than what I am. But the facts of this case is absolutely ridiculous. First of all, they investigated me for tearing down the statue. The statue was owned by the city where I'm elected mayor. The town commissioners voted to tear it down. instead of spending town money, I did it myself. So the idea of some of these people sending emails and not understanding that it is not public property, and if it is public property, it's the town's property, and I had every right to tear it down and save the residents of Enfield money, and I did it that way. Furthermore, I think what's really scary is while they were investigating me for tearing down the statue, I actually showed the SBI agents in my office those letters sitting right there. They said to me, "Oh, that's not our job, that's not our case. We're not investigating that. It's nothing we can do about that." Exactly, those are their words. So this went on for a year. I called for on a national press conference, I called for a state of emergency from the governor. He sent somebody to the town of Enfield a couple weeks later, trying to act like they were investigating. But again, those letters are still sitting on my desk. And when the officers or the agents that came to my mother's house said that they couldn't investigate or do any investigating of those leaflets because they were contaminated, because it's more than a year, but he had a picture of them, it told me that they were lying, that they had been investigating, because the sheriff, Guyan, that you just quoted, actually had 50 of them picked up the day it happened in Enfield. So it's in evidence sitting in the county of Halifax and not been touched by the SBI, who said they've been investigating for a year. But conveniently, after I called out the Department of the Secretary of Department of Safety in North Carolina, Eddie Buffalo, at a Black electors event in North Carolina, to his face for sitting quiet about white supremacy, but criticizing Black people about Black on Black crime, all of a sudden they show up at my mother's house. Now, am I saying this is why they showed up? I don't know. It just looks crazy to me that now I'm being investigated for something that has a track record of more than 15 years of happening in the state, and never has there ever been an investigation into victims of these leaflets in the history of them being thrown on people's yard up until now, because I don't act civil, to go back to this last story, because I'm questioning the status quo, regardless of their party. I'm being investigated with my baby sister. And what I told them, the SBI, was I'll volunteer for a polygraph, and all of my family members, even the ones that are dead, if they want to dig them up, because we will not be blackballed in this way. And I hope whoever told them to investigate me is willing to sit for a polygraph. Also, I do know the trickery of polygraphs, so I'm trying to get them to let me do it publicly so the world can see it.
So Mayor Mondale, Robinson, something I'm confused about. So they're saying, okay, I'm not going to investigate the KKK. They got that's their own voicemail. Not going to investigate it. The letters, I get it. It's terrible, but I get it. So why are they investigating you and your family? What in the world?
Apparently, it's a problem for a Black man to stand up and say what is wrong with America, because I can't see how an official of the sheriff department can go in the paper and print and say this is not a crime because nothing was damaged. But then again, maybe it is a crime, but we can tie it to Mondale and his family.
I just don't get it. I'm flummoxed by it. It's just madness. All right, well, listen, when we saw that video of Mondale tearing that statue, that was cathartic on several fronts. Seeing it crash and fall apart was beautiful. And seeing a strong Democrat in the country was beautiful. So now they want to come and try to tear him down. No, you come for one of us, you come for all of us. And we fight back here at TYT. So we're gonna follow this up. We're not gonna let it go. And we're not going to accept any kind of injustice for anyone, let alone one of ours. So Mayor Mondale Robinson, thank you for being with us. Thank you for fighting back. And we're gonna follow this story all the way through. All right, guys.
Love to your sisters too, Mayor.
Yes, absolutely. And to your whole family. Thanks for watching the Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR, so those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.